Yeah, I just love the idea of like, allowing room for being surprised, like, and just the ability of empowering your audience to write their own story.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's such a powerful like concept that I wish that would apply to the things in our lives. Like, like there's got to be a way to make that like for taxes or something, for like
Yeah.
healthcare, insurance. Like, couldn't there be a way to incorporate things like that instead of making them these brain dead like automaton? Like, this is
Sure.
designed to be the shittiest experience you'll ever have.
It
Like,
is
Well, I mean,
technically.
there's a I think that's about like kind of there's a mentality thing that's sort of there. And as far as like game design, gameplay, there's like even a larger theory that I like to apply to things like this. Haven't been able to do it so fully at the behemoth that is Meow Wolf, but I'm starting to slip the idea in there. And that is the concept of oh, what is it? It is self-determination theory, and it is kind of based upon these three pillars of autonomy, relatedness, and competence. And so, if you are in an experience or like even within life as well, it's like this type of, it is those three things that will make somebody feel, yeah, like they have this like this internal drive, this like self-determination. And so, yeah, like I said, autonomy, relatedness, and competence. So autonomy, meaning not meaning total freedom, but that like here are some boundaries, and within these boundaries, within this framework, you can go around and do whatever it is that you want. So there's definitely like within Yelf, there's definitely a lot of like autonomy that's already there. It's like here's a giant playground. Go push the buttons that you want to go push. Read the things if you want to read things. Like doesn't really matter. One of the next things on there though is like relatedness, is the relationships. And so like what are within these autonomous bounds, what relationships are you building as a consequence of some of the actions that you're taking, whether those are relationships with like the family that you've come there with, or you see a lot of times in like video games, and especially those like choose your own adventure kinds of games, things like Mass Effect, The Witcher, whatnot, there's consequences like for those actions. And so there's like, so you're building relationships with characters within that game, or you're building, in real life, you're building relationships with work, with family, with friends, like as a consequence of like the decisions that you're making. And then that third piece is competence, is that like, are you, is the system designed in a way where like as you make decisions you are getting the right kind of feedback that says like yes you're doing it right, or like no you're not quite doing it right, but like try this other type of thing. Like if you like the mechanics that are built in is rewarding you for your competency. And so then you kind of get into this feedback mechanism where I'm making competent decisions as a like I'm making decisions, I'm able to make decisions. As a result of those decisions, I'm being rewarded like through relationships that I'm building, through like other rewards that I may be getting, whether that's financial, whether that's experience points, whether that's yeah, like other relationships that you're building. And it's when people have like feel as if they have full control, or at least like some amount of control, like within like the boundaries of my job, I'm able to make decisions, like competent decisions, and I'm rewarded for making those competent decisions by like better relationships that I'm building with other people that are also trusting me to like make those decisions, that are giving me more boundaries to start to work within, those types of things. And so within the realm, and I learned this from something that I will definitely recommend to your listeners, is there's a game designer named Jason Vandenberg, who, and actually in your old roommate, Aaron, Cody, or maybe that was before you lived there, but if you remember Cody,
yeah.
is the one who turned me on to this guy. Actually, no, that's not. Cody reminded me of this guy, but I actually met him during East Coast Game Conference back in 2012. Yeah. Anyway,
God,
but
man,
this
you're
guy,
well. Yeah.
this guy, yeah, it was. Yes, it was. But so yeah, this guy Jason Vandenberg um, talks about like player drives, or like the reason why somebody starts playing a game is not the same reason why somebody continues playing a game. Like you are first attracted to a game, or you may be first attracted to a job, first attracted to really like anything that has your interest for a multitude of reasons. Like I like this game because it's a fantasy game. I like this person because their body shape is like this. Like I like this job because it like is is this kind of job. But if over time, if kind of your autonomy, relatedness, competence is not fulfilled, then it no longer becomes as interesting as like when the thing first started. Like you're attracted to it for one reason, but you will keep doing the thing because you have self-determination within that realm, within that game, within that system. So that is my idealized version of like the kinds of experiences that, as you know, at Meow, for even throughout like all sorts of other, like this whole realm of alternate reality games and alternate reality like stories and things, like this whole realm of things, is how to build more systems like that, where like the participant has a sense of autonomy. You know, they are able to make decisions that have consequences, and those consequences like give them more information, get them more connections to either fictional characters that are within the system, or you know, and so that they actually start to care about like the consequences of things that happen to them. You know, like one of my most emotional experiences and it like has been like through a video game. It was in Mass Effect, when you know, a character that I've been forming a relationship with over like 3 games, so maybe like, I don't know, 150 200 hours, something like that, over like the course of these 3 games. And then I make a decision where they like decide to kill themselves because like I did not help out their alien race because they were like against these like AI geth sort of things. I don't know anything, but like, you know, it was this.
Spoilers.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a
No,
it's a
I'm joking.
2-year-old game at this point, right? But yeah, just like those, like building relationships with fictional characters, or like also building relationships with people that you've traveled to that exhibit with, or even sometimes more importantly with total strangers. Like, what are the moments that you have? We see this all the time at Burning Man. Like Burning Man is the perfect example of like self-determination theory, right? Of, you know, of like you have this entire, like you stay you know, on the Burning Man grounds, but while you're in there, there's like this whole playground for you to go around in. And you know, your competency is definitely like tested like at every moment that you're there. You know, like, are you prepared for what it is that you're putting yourself
Did you
into?
bring
Are,
water?
yeah, did you bring water? Like all those kinds of things, and those have consequence. Like those things have consequences, both good and bad. You know, depending on the decisions that you've made. So that's why, yeah, like people all the time talk about like Burning Man is a giant video game, and then even now during pandemic, literally turned into into VR video game in
Right.
on several different platforms. You know, so anyway, yeah. So, but I was saying that, like, but I do, to get back to like Jason Vandenberg, I recommend people look up GDC. It's a Game Developers Conference. Jason Vandenberg, and like he has one that's about player drives, another one that is about, yeah, like self-determination theory. He's got a couple of different talks on there. And yeah, it's just definitely been a very enlightening like talks that he has given, that I've applied not only to, you know, like the realm of video games or the realm of like alternate reality games, but of just my own life. Like I have gamified a whole lot of different things, you know, within my own life, that I definitely feel like, oh, this is a moment where I've like leveled up. You know, I just had to go out to Vegas for the installation for Meow, and definitely like applying that to like within video game logic of, okay, cool, like this is the part in the game where you're like taken out of the world that you've been playing in the entire, like, you know, for the entire game. Like what resources did you bring with you? And then also like by the time you come back, you've probably unlocked a couple of like new skill trees. You know, you've definitely like leveled up in some way. You know, there are definitely like parts of the map that were black that are no longer black, and now are um, you know, that are now starting to be illuminated, like physically, like on the ground there. I know my way around Vegas now more. I acquired, you know, some new like fun articles of clothing and things. I have found you know, forged new relationships, and like unlocked a whole new skill tree that I can start to like put my experience points towards to like unlock if I like decide to like, you know, you know, mine, if I decide to like spend the time like investing in those various skills that I now have like come back with. So yeah, it's kind of mentality. So even like something like taxes, like I'm sure that there are definitely people out there, I bet you accountants and folks who just love their way around numbers, see with the stock market too all the time. And definitely, and yeah, taxes, I'm sure is a game, especially for those who are like millionaires, billionaires. Like, what are the ways that I can like cheat this system and make it work for me? Like, I am extremely competent at this system, and
Yeah.
it is going to better my relationship with money. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it really makes you think, because like a lot of people will complain, like, using the big example of school, and it's like, you're bad at school, and that must mean you suck, or you need to be motivated, and blah 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 blah. But like, I think it comes down to maybe school is just a bad game, and
You don't
it's
have much autonomy.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's
there's there is not much autonomy within the school system as we know it. Now, y'all may remember that I used to, back when I was living in Austin, I did used to teach at a small private school. I could definitely give them a shout out here, Skybridge Academy, which is a wonderful example, I think, of again, like it's like self-determination, the application of like self-determination theory. Because at this school, at the end of every semester, the teachers would come up with a list of classes that they wanted to teach, and I was the media teacher there. So I taught kids either like how to do things with Photoshop and Illustrator. One of my most popular classes was like how to make 2D games using this platform called Construct, how to like do animations with After Effects, things like that. So the teachers would come up with a list of classes that they would like to teach, and then the students would vote on them. And then depending on which classes like got the highest vote, then we would build our schedule around that. And and there were definitely, like, everybody always had to take kind of like math and English and whatnot, but we were definitely free as teachers, and the students were free as well, for us to kind of like pivot and adapt to the different needs of the different students, and just kind of see what is it that you're interested in, and encouraging and like kind of being aware of like what is it that it seems like these students are interested in and that they want to be doing, and then being able to like build a curriculum around that. So it's like, here, like you have some autonomy within these bounds, within like this block of time, we are going to be playing with this program, with this software. Here are the tools like for doing that. And they would be rewarded definitely like in their competency, or rather like even the way that these students were kind of graded. They weren't given like traditional A, B, C, D, or E. They were given we rated them, I'm trying to remember, we like rated them in 4 different categories, and it was something like participation, perseverance, initiative, and I forget what the other one is. But basically, yeah, rewarding them like for trying to do the work. Not as like what is it that but how have you taken advantage of the time that was given to you to make something. So yeah, that's what I loved about like my job there, is that like my job was like anything that you can make with a computer. I wanted to teach kids how to do that. And definitely along the way too, like learned a whole lot myself. Like I definitely offered up some classes with stuff that I had no idea really how to do. and like a week or two before teaching the class, and sometimes the morning of, like, learn how to like do the thing. But also that's the way that like computer programming and a lot of times like works, is that like teaching people how to teach themselves, teaching these students. It's like, hey, this is a tutorial like that I found, let's go through this tutorial together. This is how it is that we're going to learn. And now already so many of my skills are outdated, but I can just jump back onto a computer, and I need to like get back into doing a tutorial to like learn how to make the thing. So yeah, so yeah, but you're right, like the school system as we kind of know it is not an ideal place for kids kind of like finding that self-determination, especially in more like you'll find that on the schools that that you pay for, on private schools, or in like upper income places. But
Right.
we know in like low income places, and man, does my heart go out to all the students now that are stuck home because COVID, and having like learn in front of their computer. That's just like, that's a whole other can of worms to kind of get into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that there are methods for kids to get that kind of like feeling of control and of like trying something, failing, learning from it, trying again, failing, learning, iterating, and then kind of eventually succeeding. There are different methods and ways for kids to do that. For example, like Minecraft. Minecraft is a perfect example of a game that is totally about like self-determination, where you can just get in and do whatever it is that you want within the boundaries of the Minecraft world. But there's like the things that you can do is pretty limitless. I don't. So
go ape for that game.
I mean, and the reason why is because of the perfect level of self-determination, of autonomy, relationships and competence that they're able to get through that game. That is what that addiction loop is about. That's why, I mean, I think that is a good addiction. There's the other negative addictions, things like Facebook, Instagram, those kinds of things where it's just mining your data. But in places like Minecraft, other kinds of crafting, other games that are crafting games, it's here's a problem, here's a set of tools, and there's an infinite number of ways that you can put those tools together to solve the problem. Which way do you want to do it? And every one of those ways is valid.